Types of research. Today, with the help of a simple research tree diagram, we will understand on what basis research can be classified. On the basis of purpose or objective, research is of three types: basic research, applied research, and action research. Basic research. If research is conducted to build theory, it is called basic research. Its aim is to expand knowledge. Applied research. If research is done to solve a real-world problem, it is called applied research. The results are meant for practical use. Action research. If research is conducted by a teacher, principal, or practitioner to improve their own practice, it is called action research. Based on method, research is of three types: quantitative research, qualitative research, and mixed method research. Quantitative research is when data is in the form of numbers and analysis is done using statistical tools. This is called quantitative research. Qualitative research is research that focuses on experiences, meanings, and observations. This is called qualitative research. Mixed method research is when both approaches, that is, quantitative and qualitative research, are used together. This is called mixed method research. Based on approach or inquiry process, research is of five types: descriptive research, analytical research, correlational research, experimental research, and exploratory research. Descriptive research only tells what is happening. It describes things as they occur in real life. For example, how many students use mobile phones for study is an example of descriptive research because here the researcher is simply describing what is happening or how many students use mobile phones for studying. Analytical research explains why something is happening by analyzing the data. It looks for causes, patterns, and relationships in order to understand the results. For example, a researcher analyzes why students from rural areas perform differently from urban students. So this is an example of analytical research. Here, the researcher not only collects data but also tries to understand the reasons behind the data, such as teaching, facilities, parental support, environment, or resources. Is this the reason why students from rural areas perform differently from urban students? Correlation research. Correlation research shows the relationship between two things, but it does not tell whether one thing is the cause of the other or not. For example, is there a connection between motivation and marks? If both increase or decrease together, then there is a correlation. Experimental research. Experimental research shows the cause and effect relationship between two things. Experimental research tests whether one thing affects another or not. In this, the researcher conducts an experiment and observes whether one thing is affecting the other or not. For example, do students' marks improve with a new teaching method? If they do, then there is a cause and effect relationship between the new teaching method and the students' marks. Exploratory research is conducted when a topic is completely new or there has been very little research on it before. The main aim of this type of research is to discover new ideas, patterns, and possibilities. Here, the researcher does not try to prove any fixed hypothesis. Instead, they explore what new questions might arise for research. For example, how are students using AI tools for learning? This is an example of exploratory research because it is a new area and new ideas are being discovered in it. Exploratory research explores something new, discovers possibilities, and opens doors for future research. Types of research based on data source. According to the source of data, research is of two types: primary research and secondary research. Primary research is when the researcher collects their own original data. This means the data is taken directly from the source. For example, data is collected directly through interviews, surveys, questionnaires, observation, or experiments with people. This kind of data is fresh, authentic, and specific because it is collected according to the researcher's research objectives. Primary research is always based on original and first-hand data, but it requires more time, cost, and effort. For example, if a researcher collects data on students' study habits and academic performance by having them fill out a questionnaire, that is primary research. When a doctor records a patient's blood pressure, that is also primary data. In short, primary research involves collecting first-hand data directly from original sources. The researcher gathers information through surveys, interviews, observations, and experiments. This data is fresh, original, and specific to the study objectives. Its main advantage is that it provides accurate and highly relevant information. However, the major limitation is that it is time-consuming and costly to conduct. Secondary research. In secondary research, the researcher does not collect the data themselves, but uses information that is already available. For example, they use government reports, books, journals, online databases, and previous research studies. This method is used when the researcher has limited resources or when collecting primary data is difficult or unnecessary. Secondary research saves both time and resources. However, the researcher must ensure that the data is reliable and up to date. For example, if a researcher analyzes the population data from the Census of India, that is secondary research. When a scholar writes a literature review, they also use secondary data. In the next lecture, we will explain the positivist and post-positivist approaches to research. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can keep getting more amazing lectures.